So, Shanti, everyone. Those of you joining us for the first time through the recording, welcome. My name is Shaven. I'm a student of the London Centre, the UK. And the aim behind these sessions is to try and go into the depth of Baba's knowledge, explore different questions and different queries that come up. So that's that sort of thing that we're hoping to go into the depth of with other BK students in these sessions. And today we had a Murli on claiming blessings and the importance of blessing. And so in this, we've got this topic that I think we can go into more depth about regarding blessing. So we're going to hear a Murli later on the aspect of claiming blessings and using blessings. But to start off with, we can chit-chat about other things. Lynette, Ben, I don't know if you want to take up anything.
I have a question in my mind, and it might sound like, I don't know, so simple, but it's just confusing for me a little bit. And I believe we discussed it at a certain point in another chit chat. But this, Baba is saying in Murli, right? You have to reach a point where you want to be in the rosary of Vishnu. Now, Lakshmi and Narayan are the emperor and empress of the new world. Vishnu is symbolic, is that correct? Vishnu is symbolic of both of them, because we have Vishnu as a figure. We have the figure of Vishnu with the 4 arms or the 2 arms as a separate person. It just confuses my mind. It's Lakshmi and Narayan, but Vishnu is the ruler. I don't know if you could clarify that a little bit. It just confuses me like that.
Yeah, it is an interesting one to churn on. I think the uniqueness of the Vishnu symbol is it seems to be the eternal symbol of the cycle. Baba tells us that Vishnu is the coat of arms of the Sun dynasty of the Golden.
Okay, that's like the royal family.
Right. The royal
Okay, so it's like the royal family, but you have the king and queen in separate roles, but the monarchy is like that system. That's how I'm looking at it, but I couldn't quite understand it.
Yeah, so it's a special symbol in that sense that it's stayed throughout the ages. It's there in the beginning. Now, whether in the Golden Age it has all these weapons and ornaments, I'm not sure, because they would certainly seem out of place in the Golden Age. But maybe those are things added later on. And those ornaments Baba attributes to the confidence of. So he says that the ornaments of Vishnu, you've got the discus of self-realization representing knowledge. You have the mace representing yoga power. You have the lotus representing your inculcation of purity. And you have the conch shell representing the challenge of ideas through service. So he says those ornaments, they're not really to do with Vishnu and the deity. Those ornaments are actually to do with you Brahmins. So we've got part of that symbolism that's actually to do with confidence. And then the other part of the symbolism, Baba says, is that it's Lakshmi and Narayan combined. And sometimes he says they've also got a 4-armed image of Lakshmi called Mahalakshmi, the great Lakshmi. And that's with Lakshmi more prominent and Narayan in the background. And Vishnu is with Narayan more prominent and Lakshmi in the background. So that's the way Baba explains it. And I think in a previous chit chat, I was proposing that it's like a different gender in a sense. in the golden age, because of course we are shaped by the Iron Age understandings we have, male and female, different types of races, different types of religions. But those things are different in the golden age. We know the body is different. We know that the society is different. So I think the Vishnu is really this symbolism of almost like a whole new gender, a whole new mindset. So you have a deity soul that is full in of themselves when they're single. And then you have a deity that marries. So Baba says Vishnu is the symbol when Lakshmi and Narayan marry. So there's something that occurs which I think unlocks a whole new energy. And even in the Iron Age, people can feel very, very close, like soulmates, or they can feel like there's a telepathic connection between them. It can happen with couples. We often hear about it with twins as well. And so for me, this Vishnu symbol, it has that sort of feel towards it, like almost like you become a twin of the other. And so twins tend to report that they can feel each other's emotions. They can know there's like a connection between them that's very deep. And I think when we talk about Bab-Dada, we're talking about a combined form. So if we look at confluencing, Baba doesn't separate himself from Brahmada. And he says, I do this in the combined form, Bab-Dada. And then when we think about Mama and Baba as well, there was that feeling, the mother, the father, and there was that combined form. And then after Brahma Baba, when he handed over to Didi Manmohini and Devi Prakashmani, there used to be a saying among the Brahmins that Didi and Daddy, two bodies, one soul. And I was listening to one person give this account of how Devi Prakashmani was meeting a group back in the 1970s. And someone asked her a question. And she went into a moment's silence. And she gave the response, well, Didi and Daddy think this. And it was almost like there was a consultation going on through the airwaves. And I wonder whether there's this, where souls have gone beyond their own ego of the body, whether the minds are in tune, they're in line. And so to me, that symbol of Vishnu is where there's no insecurity. It's not like you have to hold part of you back like we do in the Iron Age, where we can't really be certain about anything. So there's always a percentage where you feel you've got to hold yourself back. And of course, even if you have a very successful marriage, untimely death can come, or the traumas can come. So we find ourselves damaged, and we can't fully unite the minds in the same way that we might be able to in the globally. So for me, you've got the deity, but then when it's a marriage, it unlocks this energy of Vishnu. And so Vishnu is the sustainer. So there's like a whole new energy of sustenance. That probably also might be connected with the pure births. So we read that Murli was the 18th of January 1980 on the palaces of the womb as well. But how Baba creates these palaces of the womb, and deities can give birth through thought power, through yoga power. So there's something about a combined energy of the mind, which is then enabling this sort of energy creation, the ability to influence matter in that way. Now, I think everyone is Vishnu, so all deities, they're Vishnu as they combine in one sense. Of course, we're talking there specifically about the world and the world emperors. So that will be another energy altogether. And so what Baba says is that you've got two rosaries. So he was talking today about winning Shiv Baba's blessings. But then he said you also have to win over Mama and Baba. And that's what he's talking about with the rosary of Vishnu. So the rosary of Rudra Shiva, that's the rosary of all souls. And so all brother souls, they go up with Shiv Baba into the soul world. And we all start from there. So when we're all suspended up there together, that's the rosary of Rudra. And Shiv Baba is the father of the unlit, all religions, all souls. So we're all up there together. But the rosary of Vishnu is those who followed Mama and Baba. So there's a matching of sanskars that occurs. And therefore, that is not a big rosary. That is a smaller rosary. And within that as well, you've got those who become part of the Sundance. So Baba is particularly talking about yoga today and yesterday, that if you have that level of yoga, you can come into the Sun dynasty, otherwise the Moon dynasty if you have less yoga, otherwise the subject. So he's talking about it in that way. In the Sun dynasty, the rosary of Vishnu, they pass in all four subjects. So they have their knowledge, their yoga, their purity, all virtues, all powers, and they also accumulate in service. So this is how we've got to become part of that rosary. We've got to accumulate in all of the subjects. And if something is missing a little bit, then we would perhaps claim a royal status in the Moon dynasty and the Silver. And mainly the subject that we would be lacking was probably our yoga. So this is why Baba says that focus on your yoga, because that purifies the soul. So this symbol seems to last with us, the symbol of Vishnu. And then in Bhakti, at some point, Vishnu takes over as being like the main god of Hinduism. But it tells us that we begin worshipping Shiva, incorporeal Shiva at the start of the Upper Age, and then Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. But then really incorporeal Shiva is lost at some point, and when people talk about the incarnations, they're not talking really about Shiva incarnating there, but they're much more talking about Vishnu coming as Krishna, coming as Rama, coming in other forms. So Vishnu develops this prominence in the Hindu psyche as the centuries go on as well. And so in this way, the power of Vishnu, it really stays right throughout the Copper and Iron Ages as well. So it's a very, very powerful symbol right throughout the cycle.
Thank you so much. You clarified that, because in my mind, I saw it as symbolic, but hearing it from you in this way just clarified the whole thing. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think, how do we use that awareness? But I think mainly we've got a few things to really appreciate. First of all, today we had the coronation of King Charles in the UK. And it really makes us think that in a few years' time, I was saying you'll be witnessing and attending the coronation of the very first Lakshmi and Narayan. So just think of that a bit. And our passport, our ticket into that function is to follow the Father now. So it's that purity, it's that pure food, it's that Amrit Vela, it's that Murli. That gets us there. And so what a privilege. I was in Motherban once or twice over Diwali, and I can recall Sister Mohini, who used to live in Motherban, in Bali. She used to be the trance messenger for Motherban. And I can recall once very vividly, the message she brought was the scene of this coronation of Lakshmi and Narayan. So Baba says that this coronation, it occurs on Diwali, and that in the Golden Age, we don't have a religious calendar. That the one festival that everyone celebrates annually is Diwali. But the meaning of Diwali is coronation. So this is also an eternal festival, this Diwali. It's there from the beginning of the Golden Age, right to the end of the Iron Age. So Vishnu, but we don't really connect Diwali so much with Vishnu. There's a connection with Lakshmi. And then most of the story later on has become connected with Sita and Ram. But Baba actually explains that Diwali means this rosary of light. And so this is all the pure souls who are there, 900,000 souls who study the Murli with Baba. Baba is making their lights shine bright. And you can imagine, like I was noticing in the coronation today with on the altar, they have these round golden plates. And it very much looked like a halo behind the king's head. And of course, in the Iron Age, a single crown. But in the Golden Age, even the subjects have that halo, that crown of purity. So you see, in the Golden Age, the crown of purity, the aura, is brighter than the crown of jewels. So the crown of jewels is actually not that compared to the light of the soul that spreads. And that's multicolored. And in the Golden Age, the 5 elements of nature are Sattva Pradhan. So they are more like crystal glass. So at the moment, we can't see the light of the soul through this body of the iron. But in the Golden Age, the body, it's like a crystal glass. So you can actually see energy through it. And so the colors of the soul, the crown of the soul, 900,000 souls who have incarnated in an innocent stage. They don't even know what vices are, what waste is. And they're all gathered for this coronation. And she was describing how when Lakshmi and Narayan, when they emerged, they were so beautiful, so colorful, amidst all of that light, all of that color. So I think today also makes us think of that, what have we witnessed? And then I presume there'll be many other smaller kingdoms within the Golden Age. So we might go and visit lots of different coronations. And we will actually be witnessing deity souls being coronated and participating in that. And in the Silver Age too, I mean, if you think how important Sita and Ram are, it often mentions that Gandhi was hoping to go back to the kingdom of Ram. And so I'm presuming that at the end of the Silver Age, there's like a legend of that great kingdom as we transition into the Copper Age. And so it lasts in Hinduism in India. We want to get back to that silver age, that level of purity and truth and honesty. So if we today, I think, reminds us of the kingdoms we've been and that we're going to. Who are the queens and the kings that we have witnessed? And then that it says we ourselves. We might have been that and we got the opportunity to become that. So it's really this type of awareness that I think today brings for us. And then secondly, I look at the souls involved and I think of the karma that they perform. But it tells us that if someone performs a lot of donation, they get a royal birth in their next life. And so seeing the small children, others in that royal family, we are so conscious. So I'm always humbled to think that these souls did something. They did something I didn't. I wasn't born in a royal family like this one. So their power of their karma must have been something. And we talked about it after Queen Elizabeth passed away and how for so many years that soul must have done something, performed such charity. But they accumulate in all levels. They got good health, long life, good education, good home, good wealth, respect. So many counts that Baba says you've got to accumulate individually, and they have the whole package. So it helps us to then emphasize, I think, what Baba's telling us, that we lost the power in our karma because as the births go on, we have more consciousness of mind, more consciousness of I. We, even though we think we're doing good, there's often a mixture because there's an emptiness inside of us. So there's some percentage of selfishness even behind the good that we do. So then we don't end up with that full fruit in the next life. So these souls have done something. So I get reminded of them. But I can certainly see and feel in my third eye how in a short space of time, I can see Baba shifting because he's creating his kingdom. So he's got this foundation of purity that he is establishing. And then all of us were going to go up into the soul world. Baba said, remember me in the soul world because you're coming to me. And then you're going to rest for a little bit. And then we're going to come down completely innocent. We don't remember anything of the previous cycle. No, like no trauma has happened, no nothing, no bad experience. So once again, for us to come in that completely innocent state and to have that feeling of a world where you're stepping into something where there is no past at the end of it. It's really genuinely fresh stuff for everyone. And so, you know, today for us Brahmins, I think it just reminds us of that kingdom that Baba is establishing. He was saying yesterday that this world doesn't feel like home. But for Shiv Baba, he really likes, he says, you don't enjoy your house until you have children. And so he likes to create a golden age house and then watch his children play in this house. That's his feeling. And he said, that's really where you're going to feel at home. Difficult for you to feel at home in this world. And so I think today, it's not our moment, it's someone else's moment. But that moment reminds us of actually the moments that are to come. Thank you, sister. Would anyone else like to come in and share anything or say anything?
Shanti, morning. Well,
Shanti.
afternoon for you. I came in a bit late, but after a few minutes ago, I saw it was 10 o'clock and it was 11 o'clock our time we were starting. So it's just I'm rushing around. You know, Simone, I watched bits and snippets of the coronation as well. And all the protocol that's involved. There's so much protocol. And I am thinking for Golden Age, I don't think we should have all that amount of protocol because the crown would just be handed over from generation to generation. But what I always, and I'm not clear on, the 8 jewels, right? The 8 jewels that will come at the beginning. They'll come at the beginning. But there's one Lakshmi and Narayan at the beginning. And there's going to be 8 kingdoms through the Golden Age. So is it in the 8 jewels that some of them are going to come a little bit later to become Lakshmi and Narayan? Or is it they come at the beginning and what is their position within the kingdom? Because there's one kingdom.
There's one emperor and empress, but there are multiple kingdoms. So
Right.
it's like nested.
Okay.
So the 8 jewels will definitely be the right hands of Lakshmi and Narayan, but so will be the 100. So
Okay.
I am the way Baba talks about it is like the first division, where he says, okay, you can't become number 1, that's the soul of Brahma, that's fixed. But you come in the first division. And the first division is the royal family. So like even you might have seen that they come onto the balcony at the end and wave to everyone. They have like the whole royal family or a large number of royals come. They're all playing different roles. And the monarch here, they know they can't go be everywhere. They need the whole family to go around and do lots of different things on behalf of the monarchy. So it will be like that. It will be like a team effort among the Sun Dynasty royal family. So what Devi Janki used to say is that, see, that consciousness of being Sun Dynasty, that's very deep. So you feel like collectively unified. And those 8, along with Mama and Baba, they're very much at the center of that family. They're the heartbeat of that family. And so they would definitely have that role. So those souls, they might be Lakshmi and Narayan later on, not in the first birth, and there'll be combinations of that. So Baba took it up 1 or 2 weeks ago, didn't he? That first Lakshmi and Narayan, then they become children. They will be like, someone else will be higher, and they will be lower. This is part of the process. And then, so this is how it will be. I am pretty sure that Daddy Prakashmani is going to be the second Krishna, because I just think this handing over that Brahmavada did at Confluence Age is very, very significant. I don't think he hands over to anyone else. And the way he handed over like that, yeah, I think that we got a glimpse that he is going to put the crown. I was saying this at the beginning to Lynette, and that seeing the coronation today, I did feel that it would have been nice if the Queen had abdicated, and she would have been, like, she never had the desire to see her son on the throne. And, there's something nice about that. You feel like something completes at that point to see your children on the throne. And Baba does tell us that when things are separated, that's what happens. It's the parents who hand over. And one thing that is a little bit unique in the UK compared to some other countries is that the religion and the kingdom is combined. So Henry VIII is a very famous king, and he's famous for having 6 wives, but he's also the soul that established the Church of England, so the Protestant faith. became established in the UK. And so for many centuries, religious authority was with the Pope and through the Pope, from the Pope through the cardinals. And political power was with the kings of Europe. So you have this separation that often talks about. In Hindi, the word for copper age is duapur, which means two lands. So Baba says that in the copper age, you have a separation between political power and religious power. So you get a priesthood emerging who themselves are very, very powerful within a kingdom. And you've got these tensions that occur then over the centuries between religious power and political power. So Baba says that begins in the Copper Age. In the Golden and Silver Ages, as we know, there's no backbeat. And so, like you said, it is the parents crowning. And that's like, it's not a priest crown. It's symbolism, but religious authority is also in the emperor. And here we see King Charles. Why? I mean, I was surprised how long his service was. Really much longer than I thought.
Yeah.
It was mainly praising Christ. Like from the moment he arrived, they had a boy, 14-year-old boy from the choir there in Westminster Abbey, asking him, "Why have you come? We welcome you into God's house. Have you come to bow to the King of Kings, to Christ?" So he says, "Yes, I've come to serve." So that what they've done, they've got an entire 1.5 hours emphasizing to the king that you are not as high as us. You still have to come and bow in our church. And then once they crown him, then the archbishop bowed to him. Because once he's crowned, he is the head of the church. So in the UK, they do have this combination of the religion and the politics, but then now the political powers of the people is a democracy. So it's all become dispersed. But in the Golden Age, this will all be within the monarch. And so it will be Narayan the first. And this is why I think very, very significant. Brahmababa, hand in hand, through his drishti, and Bapdada often call it the day of willpower, that he willed over the powers to the Dhamma in that drishti. And I think that's what happens at these coronations. That's what a coronation means. It's and in the Golden Age, it's like today, as you say, it was all protocol because it's so controlled by the priests, isn't it? So specific. And then the rest of it is controlled by the military, isn't it? So it's all very specific. But in the Golden Age, as you say, it would all be within the emperor. The emperor would be the symbol of purity, Vishnu, the head of the religion, the head of the deity phenomenon, the head of the kingdom. It's all unified in one. And so then handing over is that act of trust as well, that act of continuity. So that would occur. It's true that Baba even does mention in one Murli about 8 kingdoms. That in my mind, it doesn't calculate because they, like, even if we say 1250 years, they don't, it's not like birth to death. You come on the throne at a certain age and then you retire at a certain age. So, even say the average is 50 years, let's just say, I don't know. But say it's 50 years, so you can see that that's more than 8 kingdoms, because that's only 400 each time. So I think there would be more than 8 Lakshmi. But, it's because it doesn't, the numbers don't match 8 generations. But I'm presuming that Mama and Baba will become Lakshmi and Narayan more than once within that, and there'll be the combinations of the 8 what we also know is that Baba is not restricted to 108 souls. He's been clear about it, and that's a number from Bhakti, but he prefers to call it the first division, because however many achieve that standard, he'll put them in his Sun dynasty family. I'm not sure he has said that about the 8, but certainly for the 100, I think that there could be a large number. So when we're talking about a deity family, deity kingdom, my guess would be the 108 might be somewhere around about, like if I look across the Brahmin family, the quality of effort, I reckon about 50,000 Brahmins could come in 108.
Okay.
So out of 900,000 total, I think 50,000 princes and princesses running, managing everything in the first bed. And then that grows as time goes on. And certainly as the Silver Age goes on, I would see all 900,000 princes and princesses as population grows further. But the 108, they have the royal status for the full 21 days. So they achieve it now in self-sovereignty. And then that fixes for them from the first birth to the end of the service in a royal family. If we come in, say, the 16,000, I was talking about that this morning, but something is lacking in yoga, then you're not coming. Moon dynasty. So that's the 16,100 ahead. So they would be like the ministers to the 108, the start of the golden age. So that includes them servants, because they would be ministers to the 108 at the start of the golden. But then when the Silver Age comes, it's their time. So their moon dynasty. I've shared this with you before, that I thought for some time that like the Sun dynasty then become like the moon dynasty. And once after Murli, I was just chatting about a couple of points with Eddie Gently. This was way back when I was about 17, 18 years old. And I suggested something like this to her. And I remember her like leaning forward to me, sort of outraged that I was suggesting that she was going to become part of the moon dynasty. She was saying, no. Full 21 births, Sun dynasty stays the Sun dynasty. And she said that even in the Silver Age, the Sun dynasty family will be looked with the same regard like they were in the Golden. So for her, she was it was like this identity of the Sun dynasty. And that was my takeaway, a very deep thing, that she will be part of Mama and Baba's plan for the full time. She's not going into anyone else's family. It was like very deep within her. And so I hadn't realized that there would be a Sun dynasty family in the Silver, but she was very insistent about that. It's just that the Moon dynasty family ruled. So they've got the political authority. But the Sun dynasty is like, I can say, like, you've got many royal families, and they don't rule. They're like old royal families, so they no longer have a political role. So that'll be the Sun dynasty and the Silver. But Mama and Baba will continue in that family. They won't become part of the Moon dynasty. So this is why Baba says to us, doesn't he, that he creates 3 religions: the Brahman, the deity, and the world. And so we do have to now create self-sovereignty, because the warrior is the one who carries on battling to the last moment. So that it says that in your final thoughts, when you're leaving your body, if there's a battle, the symbol is the bow and arrow of Ram, whereas Krishna is shown with a flute. So he's dancing away. He's got that music, he's got that harmony. because he's conquered his mind, he's conquered his senses. So this is the qualification of that Sun dynasty, whereas the Moon dynasty is still obviously very great souls, but it seems like something was lacking a little bit in yoga power. And so I think it might have been in that same conversation that she said to me that there was one brother who was a very big business person, and was the first big business person to become a BK. He had made his entire factory take the 7 days course up. I was into it. And he had become the foundation for a lot of service in his state in India. And then after 5 years, he left the body. I remember Baba said in his board message that he's gone into the advanced party. And Daddy, that day in the Murli, it had come up about King Janak achieving liberation in life. And again, I hadn't thought of it that way until she said it to me. Because Janak is the father of Sita, so she was saying that that's the symbol of the Moon dynasty. So what she was saying was that there will be souls who have these big businesses, these big kingdoms, and they become examples of how to live like a trustee. So they have this faith in Baba, and they're able to look after so much and serve so much. But she said she thinks of this brother because he only had 5 years to have yoga, and it wouldn't be enough. So like Baba said, that if you don't have enough yoga, you can't become part of the Sun dynasty. But she said that because he served so many souls, Baba will clear his karmic accounts because of the volume of blessings. And this was in today's movement about how the blessings clear the burden of sins of the past. So what I took away from that was that the Moon dynasty excel in service. They, like all Brahmins do serve, but we do see that some Brahmins, they have a big impact. And they seem to serve thousands. Now, the Sun dynasty souls, they will serve millions through the power of yoga. So there's something about their yoga which can, they're able to, last Saturday we read that Murli on the language of the eyes, the language of feelings, the language of thought. So the Sun dynasty, they develop this capacity. And so they can touch so many souls. But the Moon dynasty can maybe reach more through words, maybe more through actions. And so even if they're lacking something in the subject of yoga, the power of their service, because there are not that many souls who rule the whole globe. I was thinking that, I don't know exactly the number, the years and the calculations and that. I don't know for sure how many, but it can't be more than 20 to 30. So it's not more. It's not many souls who rule the entire globe. Because from the Copper Age onwards, we have many disparate kingdoms. So it's only in the Golden and Silver Age, if you achieve that you can actually rule the globe. So we might look down at the Silver Age and the Moon dynasty and Sita and Ryan, but they've done something to rule the globe. They're not that, like even most of the 108 would not rule the globe. They won't sit on Mana and Buddha's throne, even though they're in the first division, even though they're Sun dynasty. So there are souls in the Moon dynasty who win Mana and Buddha's throne, even though they're in the Moon dynasty. So there's some nuance, I think, where these souls have done something very special to be able to be a ruler of the globe. And I think it might be linked with the volume of service. from what Daddy was suggesting. Do you want to come back on?
So I'm thinking that in the Moon Dynasty, at the beginning of the Moon Dynasty, these two souls who will rule, Ram and Sita, will be new souls coming down?
No.
No.
So, no, my understanding is that the Moon Dynasty take 84.
Continue.
So these are the ministers at the start of the Golden Age. So that was called the Moon Dynasty. They become servants, meaning not like cleaning the palace, but they would be like a prime minister, the ministers who help run the kingdom. But they're not really royal family in the first place. And their time is later on. But they're still very, very powerful souls, very well regarded within the Golden Age kingdom as well. So definitely they would take 84 days. And their time of ruling is not at 16 celestial degrees. Their time of ruling was between 14 and 12. So all of this matters. It's linked with how pure we make ourselves through yoga. And so, so you've got the elite scholarship is the 8 jewels and Manandara. So I think that's only 10 cells. I don't think that is more. Then, as I say, I think the first division, which would be like passing with honor, but not scholarship. I think that could be that definitely more than 108, and I'm just speculating. I don't know, but from what I can see, there are lots of Brahmins making very good efforts and consistent efforts over a period of time. I feel confident that something like 50,000 could become part of the Rosary of Victory. Then you have the second division, and that's where I understand the movements to be. So these are souls who pass, but not pass with honors. So maybe the B grade rather than the A grade. And that's because those tells us the subject of yoga. That's the one that was missing. To come in the sun dynasty, that yoga has to be constant. But then the D grade, something is lacking in the yoga path, but not in the other. And so these souls will be there. They will be assisted in the kingdom right from the beginning. And then as the time moves on, their time comes in the silver.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts. I mean, you can have a think about it yourself, how it all works out. I think the main change that we do see over time is the composition of the subjects. So in that first birth, all 900,000, so to even be that 900,000 soul, this is a soul who has studied the Murli. This is a soul, I think, that the celibacy, the pure food, the Murli, I think those are the 3 things you need. They have that. So for that first Lakshmi and Narayan, even their last subject is of that quality, of having inculcated those things and the confidence. But later on, if you're Lakshmi and Narayan later on, or you're a Sita and Ram later on, so many contact souls, so many souls who have taken something from Baba, they've contributed something into Baba's times, but they don't know that celibacy, that pure food, that daily moral. So there's going to be a difference in samskar. So this will be more, not so much at the top, but the difference will be in the composition within the kingdom. So they might come, like even one Lakshmi Narayan to the second one, it's gone from 16 to 15.9. Something. So souls coming down then, they didn't achieve 16 semester degrees. So someone coming 500 years later, they're coming at about 15 degrees, and something like that. So the souls who are coming down to be part of the wider community, these are not souls who achieve 16 semester degrees. Whereas even the Moon Dynasty rulers, they did achieve 16 degrees. They come right at the beginning. It's just that their time of ruling is not at 16.
Okay. Mhm.
And we're seeing that, aren't we? It's not many souls coming to Murli every day. There's not many, like we're not really growing beyond that 900,000. We're seeing who are these souls over a long period of time accumulated. So these will be the souls who will have the ticket for that first coronation day. And at first, the early day, these will be the souls there to witness with their own eyes that first Vishnu.
Mhm. And there's another thing as well. And it was a couple of months ago in the Murli. I think the Murli was basically speaking with the mothers and the sorrow when their husband died. And Baba said that in the golden age, you will not become a widow. There were one or two thoughts on that of one of the souls was saying in the class that the husband, it is an indication that the wife will go before the husband. Now, I don't really subscribe to that because, first of all, I'm assuming the husband is always a little bit older, and we have the approximately 150 years. My take on it is that because the soul is seen as immortal, there's nothing of death in the golden age. So I am thinking that this is what Baba would have meant, is that you will not be a widow because there's no death. So I don't know if anywhere it was said that a husband will leave before the wife. I've never heard that.
Well, I agree with your interpretation. So that's how I understand it as well. There's no concept of in the
Death.
golden. Yes, I think he's addressing the mentality of death, the emotions. So, and I was saying in yesterday's class as well that, to be a widow at that time in Hyderabad, it was, they had to wear a scarlet dress for 12 months. I mean, this, this mentality of the widow in some cultures is very oppressive. So it's something that Dada has tackled from the beginning of the idea. He wants to knock it out already. You're not a widow. There's no such thing as a widow. It's a social construct. You're nothing without your husband. That's basically the premise, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it means. So Dada's saying this is a nonsense. You're never a widow anyway, because Shibaba is everyone's husband eternally. And so this is why we're never a widow. So I agree with you. I don't know how it works really with timing and how it all transpires in detail. But as you say, I don't think it could be quite like that. I don't think it could work quite like that. It's probably a bit varied.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shall we listen to a little bit of Murli and this theme of blessing? So let me hand over to Angela about 24. I could go. So this morning we had a very nice Murli based on a very beautiful song about taking the blessings from the mother and father. And today Baba was teaching us that actually a lot of our progress is based on blessing. And one thing that I would like to just bring to people's attention to think about is I have a little bit of a discomfort with BKs becoming too much self-management gurus or psychologists, because I think there are some benefits to understanding things from those spectacles, but I've become concerned with BKs thinking too much like a psychologist and analyzing themselves, analyzing others, or self-management. I got to change myself. I got to sort myself out. Because I don't think that's Raja Yoga. I don't think we change ourselves. I think Baba changes us. I think Baba purifies us. And we've got to hold Baba's hand. We've got to build that relationship with Baba. But it's not us. Like 63 births, we tried to change ourselves. It didn't work. So 63 births, we've been listening to so many views. How much are we going to carry on listening to views? What is should Baba tell us we better do? And one question that does arise is, how did Mama and Baba become angels so quickly? And from today's Murli, we can understand they attracted Shiv Baba's blessings the most. And what Mama and Baba were very, very good at, I was discussing this with Brother Ramluchi, who is one of the senior brothers in Shantivan. And he doesn't speak English, so I think maybe Double Fathers don't want him so well. And he was saying that his feeling is that Mama and Baba put into practice what they heard in the morning that day. They didn't let the sun set on Shiv Baba's homework. And when Shiv Baba sees a student doing what he's told them to do in the moment, he thinks that you get extra blessings from Shiv Baba, that you did it that day. And so Mama and Baba really developed a momentum where Shiv Baba said something, they just did it. And then once you build that momentum, you'll gain so many blessings from Shiv Baba. They did it in half the time of all the daily. And it's a lesson for us, because how much time have we might not have many, many decades ahead. So that means we've got to go quickly. And I recall it came up in last year's Devi Jayanti anniversary board message, where Baba said, I'm giving extra blessings at the end. If you want to make the most of it, you can. And it came up in a board message just 2 months ago on a Thursday, where Baba said, you've got to recognize this power. Brahmins are having blessings poured upon them at the moment. So we got to catch those blessings, use those blessings, multiply those blessings. So now we're going to hear a Murli, where Baba explains that a bit more.
Om Shanti. This is Avyak Bap Dada. The date is 24 February 1988. 24 to 1988. Today, Bap Dada is seeing his children, who are the spiritual Chatrak birds. You know the Chatrak birds. They are the birds who wait for the first, after a long hot summer, they wait for the first drop of the rain. So this Baba gives us this title that goes on. We were so thirsty for so many birds, and we are so anxious and ready to listen. Baba's knowledge. So today, Bap Dada is seeing his children who are the spiritual chatrak birds. Each child has become like a chatrak bird and is anxious to listen, to meet, and is anxious to become equal to Baba. By listening, the thirst of innumerable birds is quenched. The nectar of knowledge satisfies thirsty souls. And as they listen, souls become the embodiment of knowledge equal to Baba. Or should you say that as they listen to the flute of knowledge, they become the children who themselves play the flute. So Baba often gives us the title of Murli Tar. Tar means the holder of the Murli. So like Baba, we also become like reading the Murli and embodiment, and like playing a flute of Murli. Murli means flute. So playing the flute of knowledge. So we also, or should you say that as they listen to the flute of knowledge, they become the children who themselves play the flute? As they celebrate the spiritual meeting, they become merged in Baba's love. As they celebrate the meeting, they become the ones who have the stage of being merged in love and lost in love. As they celebrate a meeting, they remain merged in the experience of one Baba and none other. While celebrating a meeting, they become free from obstacles and become beloved children by being colored by Baba's company. When souls remain so merged and lost in love, what is the hope that remains? That of becoming equal to Baba. So to become equal to Baba, Baba says souls remain so merged and lost in love. And that is the hope of becoming equal to Baba. Those who place every step over Baba's step are those who are to become equal to Baba. Just as Baba is constantly the embodiment of all authority, in the same way, the children become the ones who are constantly master almighty authority. Baba's form is constantly powerful, constantly light. So balance of that, powerful as well as light. Baba's form is constantly powerful, constantly light. They also become equal in this way. You know the special aspects in which you must become equal. In which aspect should you become equal to Baba? You know them, don't you? Baba is asking, you know the aspect? Then Baba says, you have become already and you are becoming as well. As is Baba's name, so is the children's name, that of being world benefactor. In Hindi, it's Vishwa, means world. Kalyankari is benefactor. So world benefactor. This is your name as well, isn't it? As is Baba's form, so is the children's form. As are Baba's virtues, so are the children's virtues. Those who imbibe every virtue of Baba are the ones who become equal. As is Baba's task, so is the children's task. Become like Baba in every aspect. This is everyone's aim, isn't it? You are not those who remain face to face, but those who are to become equal. This is known as those who follow the Father. So check yourself. To what extent have I become like Baba in every aspect? So to copy Baba exactly. Since the beginning, Baba has given the blessing of becoming equal to all the children. So we say in Hindi, Bap Saman, equal to Father. Saman is equal, and Bap is Baba, Father. So from the beginning, Baba has given us the blessing of becoming equal to all the children. And so the blessing given at the beginning is the blessing filled with all powers. In Lokic life, a father or a guru gives blessings. May you be wealthy, may you have children, may you have a long life, or the blessing. May you constantly be happy. What blessing has Baba given? So Baba has given the blessing. May you constantly be full of wealth of all powers. These are the treasures of Brahmin life. May you have a long life that is to live until the end of the task of establishment at the confluence age from the time you have taken Brahmin birth. So for us, Baba has given the definition of long life. So that may you have a long life that is to live until the end of the task of establishment at the confluence age from the time you have taken Brahmin birth. That means to have the blessing of a long life. In between, if the soul goes towards the old sanskars or the old world, away from Brahmin life, this is also known as taking birth, but one with a short lifespan, because the soul has died from Brahmin life. So Baba means after halfway, if a child leaves Baba or Murli, there is a short span of life for that child. And so Baba says it's as if soul has died from Brahmin life. Some are such that it is if they are in a coma, and even though they are here, they are equivalent to not being here. Mind means almost unconscious. In coma, Baba used the word coma, and then explained that although they are here, they are equivalent to not being here. And sometimes they wake up, but that living is equivalent to being dead. To have a long lifespan means to live the Brahmin life, the elevated divine life of all attainments from beginning until the end. Together with a long lifespan, the blessing of being free from disease is also necessary. If the lifespan is long, but the sickness of Maya, So for by disease, Baba means sickness of Maya, makes the soul weak again and again, that living is not living. Together with a long lifespan, one must constantly remain healthy, that is free from obstacles. So Baba's language about healthy is to remain free from obstacles. Not to stay in bed in a state of confusion, of being hopeless. What happens when someone becomes ill? He goes to bed, doesn't he? Small confusion. Small confusions are finished whilst moving. But when a huge difficulty comes, the soul gets entangled in confusion and loses hope. What is the state of mind at that time? When the body is in bed, one does not have the desire to get up and walk, or the desire of eating or drinking. In the same way, here, if the soul sits in yoga, the heart is not drawn. Even if he listens to knowledge, it is not with the heart. He will do service for show, out of fear, or for public opinion. This is not called constantly healthy life. That is called the blessing of a long lifespan. The blessing of being free of disease and the blessing of having children. So, do you have children? Have you given birth to only 2 or 4 children? The blessing of receiving children is not given for 2 or 4 children. But when you are stable on the stage of being master creator like Baba, then what is the feeling at that time? All of this feels like your creation. To become such a master creator is the blessing of unlimited children, not that of the limited 2 or 4 students. In inverted comma, it says, I created these are mine, means, to be content with 4 or 5 students and say, use the language, they belong to me, they are my students. Baba says, not in that way. The state of the master creator is the unlimited state. So do you remember on the first paragraph, Baba gave us the title of world benefactor, like Baba. And so Baba wants us to be unlimited. So this is why Baba says the state of the master creator is the unlimited state. Means world benefactor. Have the consciousness of each soul and the elements. So not only each soul as well as all the elements. Because of us, we can see the impact of our actions, wrong actions, actions with vices, and our other thoughts, everything has affected the atmosphere, the entire world, the entire nature, animals. And so Baba says we have to reverse those actions by serving the animals, souls in an unlimited way, all the nature. And so Baba says, have the consciousness of each soul and the elements of nature as your creation, and have good wishes and pure feelings of benefit for each one in the stage of being world benefactors. This is the feeling that a creator has for his creation. So we are the master creators. Prakruti Pati means, it's up to us whether to create what sort of thoughts, because we are the creator. And so even Baba says, think before you think. Yesterday he said, hear no evil about 3 monkeys. Hear no evil, see no evil, talk no evil, and then think no evil, do no evil. So this is what Baba says. That have the consciousness of each soul and the elements of nature as your creation, and have good wishes and pure feelings of benefit for each one in the stage of being world benefactors. This is the feeling that a creator has for his creation. When you become the masters of the unlimited, then no limited attraction can attract towards itself. Where will you constantly see yourself standing? The seed, the creator of the tree, always comes up above when it is the final stage of the tree. Means the tree has bore the fruit, ripe fruit, and when the fruit is ripe, what happens? They start to burst or they give. So that is a success. It's a sign of success. Fruit, and then fruit. When fruit bursts, they are seed again, and in that way. So this is what Baba means, that our fruit. So final stage of the tree. In the same way, the unlimited master creator will experience himself to be standing on top of the kalpa tree. Means equal to the Father, we are ready to go home. Like when you look at the kalpa tree, Brahma Baba is standing at the top, waiting for us to become equal to him like angels, and they're ready to go home. So Baba is talking about that. The other day Baba talked about the kalpa, Baba standing at the top and reaping the fruit of makkah and the butter. Baba gave examples that 2 sides will fight as we see in the world, and then we will reap the fruit of it. Baba is waiting for us. Means we will go into Satyug in heaven. Together with Baba, the soul will become the master seed on the tree and spread the rays of powers, virtues, good wishes, pure feelings, love, and cooperation. So in the beginning, Baba planted 2 plants, and Mama Baba and all of us, and he's asking us to plant, and then when the tree becomes full, then we will reap the fruit and go into heaven. And that cycle will start again, like a tree, the seeds, and then the shoots come out, and then the cycle starts, nature starts. In the same way, we will start our Satyug and the cycle will start. The sun automatically spreads its rays over the entire world because it is high above. In the same way, can you become master creator and master seed and give rays and water to the entire tree? So how many children do you have? So Baba is teaching us not to think in a limited way. You have to have you have to think of the entire world, nature, everything, unlimited way. And then have unlimited children. The entire world is your creation. To have the blessing of being master creator is known as receiving the blessing for many children. How many blessings did you have? This is known as becoming equal to Baba. So as soon as each one took birth, Baba has given all these blessings to all Brahmin souls. You have received these, have you not? When someone receives a blessing, then together with that blessing, the method of using the blessing is also told. If that method is not adopted, then the soul is not able to take benefit from that blessing. And so everyone has received blessings, but you can increase each blessing with the accurate method. So everyone has received the blessings, but you can increase each blessing with the accurate method. How can it increase? The method for this is the easiest and the most elevated. So Baba is now teaching us how to use the blessing, the method. So catch it, Baba is teaching us. The method for this is the easiest and the most elevated. The blessing should be remembered according to the time, and by remembering it, you will become powerful and you will become the embodiment of success. So the method is to use the blessing at the accurate time, appropriate time, and remember it. Then the success comes. The more you use it according to the time, the more the blessing will continue to increase. That is, you will constantly experience the fruit of the blessing. You have received such elevated blessings, powerful blessings, that not only can you achieve fruits by using them for yourself, but you can also make other souls worthy to claim blessings from Baba, the bestower of blessings. This blessing of the confluence age remains with you and in different forms for 21 births. This form at the confluence age is different. And for 21 births, this blessing will continue in your life. However, now is the time to meet the bestower of blessing and so receive blessings. So check, are you using all your blessings and moving forward? Because you have heard previously that there is a speciality of blessing. The one who has received blessings does not have to labor. When Bhagat souls, it means the devotees, Bhagat, devotee souls get tired, they ask for blessings from Baba. When people come to you, they don't want to make effort to have yoga. And so, what is the language they speak? They would, what would the Bhagat say? Just give us a blessing. Just place your hand on our head. The hand of Baba, the bestower of blessings, is constantly over you, the Brahmin children. The elevated directions are the hand. So Baba has been talking a lot for past 2 weeks about Srimad. So the hand of blessing means we have the hand of Srimad, means to follow Srimad. Keep the Srimad in your awareness and use it. And that is the hand of Baba on your head of blessings. And so Baba is saying that Bhagat's big, but Baba Srimad, hand of Srimad is already on us. We have to use those blessings. That's why Baba says, the hand of Baba, the bestower of blessings, is constantly over you, the Brahmin children. The elevated directions means Srimad are the hand. So elevated directions, Srimad are the hand. It will not be physical hand that is placed. Baba does not place physical hand, but Srimad. How can it be placed for 24 hours? So how can Baba keep his hand on our head for 24 hours? Baba is asking. This hand of Baba's elevated direction is constantly over the children. From the early morning hours till the time you go to sleep, the hand of elevated directions is given for every breath, every thought, and every action. Continue to move with the method of this blessing, and you will not have to labor. You know, today's blessing was on Mansa, Vacha, Karma, mind, words, and actions. And so Baba pointed out that Baba has also given you the directions from early morning hours till the time you go to sleep. You know, fourth, directions is given for every breath, every thought, and every action. Continue to move with the method of this blessing, and you will not have to labor. There is praise for the deities, that they have no knowledge of any desires, which really is the speciality of an angelic life. There is no question of any desires in a deity life. Brahmin life becomes the angelic life. That is, you achieve the karmatit stage. So karmatit means you have no desires. You have conquered all the habits, everything, no desires for anything. But you attained everything from Baba, total satisfaction. To perform an impure action, a useless action, or a sinful action. So impure action, useless action, or a sinful action, or to perform an action in the bondage of past karma is not called the karmatic stage. So Baba has explained further what a karmatic stage is. It's for checking. One is the relationship with karma, and the other called the karmatic stage. One is the relationship with karma, and the other is bondage. There may be relationship with karma, but no bondage. This is called an angel. So angel means that there may be relationship with karma, but no bondage. Means Baba sometimes says that while you are doing karma, you should remain soul conscious and do it in an angelic way. But sometimes what we do most of the time remain action conscious. That's what Baba means. Don't be action conscious. Balance of karma and yoga. So there may be relationship with karma, but no bondage. This is called angel. Just as there is the praise of ignorance of desires. In the same way, in the angelic life or the Brahmin life, there is ignorance of the word difficult, ignorance of burden. So Baba does not like these words, burden or difficult, for in our dictionary. Because, sometimes mothers and they say, but our children really give us a hard time, and Baba, it's really difficult. And so Dadi Gulzar always used to say to mothers, they think of them as Baba's children, little deities that Baba has asked you to look after. And then you won't get troubled by them. You won't find it difficult or burdened. And so Baba is saying that you shouldn't have these words. You don't even know what it is. And so a soul who has blessings means the one who has the experience of ignorance of a life of difficulty. Baba used the word difficult and bondage so many times. This is called a blessed soul. So to become like Baba means to constantly be sustained with blessings received through the bestower of blessings. Always be carefree and experience victory as a certainty. So Baba says, Baba's sustenance means to be aware of blessings and use them and be sustained in that way. And so Baba says, the victory is your birthright. So you do this, and Baba is with you, and then you are guaranteed victory. Some children make good effort, but to experience effort as a burden is not accurate effort. So even in effort making, if it's a burden, Baba says it's not accurate effort. To pay attention is the accurate method of a Brahmin. However, attention changes into tension. So it makes a difference. Attention, and then if you take away the word a, it becomes attention, Baba says. If there is a natural attention, then that cannot be called accurate attention. When one has physical knowledge in life, he knows that this is a good thing. This has to be done. This must not be done. And so the sign of those who are knowledgeful on the basis of knowledge is that they pay attention naturally. This can be eaten. This must not be done. This is to be done, not the other. To go there, not to go here, etc. They do not have tension at every step. Should I do this? Should I eat this? Should I not eat this? Shall I move this way or the other way? There is natural attention with the power of knowledge. Those who are such accurate effort makers pay natural attention at every step, because the light and might of knowledge enables you to move in an accurate way with an accurate method. So Baba pointed out that we should have power to judge and decide instantly what is right, what is wrong, and then with determination, with natural attention. Because Baba is talking about the health, spiritual health, health of the body and health of the soul. So, so at every step, those who are such accurate effort makers pay natural attention at every step, because the light and might of knowledge enables you to move in an accurate way with an accurate method. So by all means, make effort. Baba says, by all means, make effort. Definitely pay attention, but not in the form of tension. When you come into tension, then you wish to do a great deal. You wish to become number one, but tension does not allow you to become what you wish to become. And tension creates further tension. Because what you wish to happen does not happen, tension increases. So everyone makes effort, but some make effort too heavy, and some become completely careless, saying, whatever is going to happen will happen. We will see what happens later. Who sees and listens to us anyway? So they start to have Maya's illness. Baba pointed out negativity and hopelessness. And so they will become careless in this way. And all these thoughts will come. Baba knows what thoughts Maya brings. So they would say, what will happen? We'll see what happens later. Who sees and listens to us anyway? So neither one is good, nor is the other good. Therefore, through balance, experience Baba's blessings. Always maintain this consciousness that Baba's hand is over my head. So remember the hand of elevated directions, Srimad. So Baba says, always remember. Therefore, through balance, experience Baba's blessings. Always maintain this consciousness that Baba's hand is over my head. Bhagat souls keep physical images in front of themselves, thinking that the hand of blessings is over their heads. So Bhagat, because they don't have knowledge, they have physical images. And they keep those images over their heads. So you can always keep the image of this experience in your consciousness and in the intellect as you move. Do you understand? You have made a lot of effort. Now be sustained with blessings and fly. You have experienced Baba as the bestower of knowledge and bestower of wisdom. Now experience him as the bestower of blessings. Acha? Okay, now catch Baba's Yad Pyar, remembrance and blessings. Yes, Baba is teaching us and is in front of giving us blessing. So Baba says, to those who constantly follow the Father at every step, to those who constantly experience themselves as the elevated blessed souls who belong to the bestower of blessings, to those who cross every step easily, to those who constantly use the blessing at an appropriate time, to those who constantly use the blessing at an appropriate time. To such elevated souls who are to become equal to Baba, Bap Dada's love and remembrance is and namaste in the form of the bestower of blessing. And we say namaste to Baba. Om Shanti.
There's many blessings that are given in Bhakti. May you live a long life. May you have children. And Baba's saying that I give you all of these in a more subtle way. And you get so many blessings in just one more of them. The more that you use them, the more that they grow, the more that you follow Srimad, the more that you gain blessings. And that is saying that we have become used to making effort based on knowledge. Well, now we've got to move forward with the experience of the blessings that we're gaining from Baba. And so attracting those blessings so that Baba sees what we're doing and really feels that he wants to give those extra blessings to us. That's really key. And then the other thing that Baba doesn't take up in this movie so much is giving blessings. Our giving blessing is actually a way of gaining. And I suppose Baba did take it up in the sense that he was saying that the more that you practice and fill yourself with Baba's attainment, then it'll be like a seed emerging to the top of the tree again. But Baba was saying to us this morning that your wings are broken. You can't fly up. But the more that you're mended and healed and full, the new souls will fly up higher. And you can actually spread your vibrations further. But other types of blessings are really where we keep our feelings pure, no matter how someone behaves. And so to be able to do that, that's giving good wishes. That's giving blessings as well. The fact that we're not taking sorrowing, we're not having wasteful feelings, that's also giving blessings. So in that way, we gain blessings. Would anyone like to come in with any reflections?
Shanti. The point I took most is that we don't force ourselves to do certain services because we want to please Baba or we want to move ahead. We have to do it naturally, not force anybody at all. Stay in yoga, and what needs to be done will be done according to Baba's inspiration.
We don't have it. Yeah. And it's also that Baba was saying that you mustn't make anything a show. That if you want to really claim Baba's blessings, it's got to be very sincere. And so where it's done from the heart, without, that'll be the same in Bhakti as well. Then we claim those blessings. If we're just doing it as, what? If we're just doing it as something which is to impress others, because we can just get into a routine of being a bouquet, but actually it's not the doing that's as important as the internal feelings and the internal motives that we have. So I was saying, fill yourself. The important point. Would anyone else like to share any reflections?
Om Shanti. I think really how important it is for in doing anything, whether we do service or whether we interacting with anyone, this point of Baba's hand of Srimad, and using Baba's Srimad at the right time. At the right time. Baba is saying that in itself gives blessing. But it's doing things from the heart and not as a ritual, not because I am asked to do something, yes, but I am doing it because Baba is saying, we are world benefactors, just as he is. And the consciousness of wanting to bring benefit to all souls of this world has to come from the heart, has to come from the heart. And, often Baba, and that's always touched me in that always when Baba says that, do you hear the cries of the souls of the world? And now we are looking at the world of what is happening. There's such sorrow that is increasing more and more in this huge amount. and how important it is now to do what Baba is saying in the title he has given us as world benefactor, and really serving and the increasing of this yoga power, because this is how we will reach those souls. All the physical service is important, but that also is limited. You know, there's a limitation in that. And really, again, it comes back down, yes, your mind service, but the gathering as well. You know, being in the company of Brahmins, being in the company of Brahmins who has the consciousness of what Baba is saying, that who you are and what you need to do. And that I'm not just serving on a limited level, I'm serving this little group that I'm in. I am doing things because I'm asked to do, but really looking at the world as it is now. Baba has told us for years what is to happen, and we are seeing. And often we say, okay, there's so much happening, but really it's just a tip of the iceberg of what is to come. So it's to fill in the self with power, having Baba with us all the time, serving from the heart, consciousness of Baba is telling us the hand of Srimad, world benefactor, you know, these points of churning to having the awareness all the time. And just serve. And really, as you're saying that, are we able to have the good wishes even when someone says something and it affects us? Or should it affect us? But to be able at this time in the drama is to be able to now put full stop more than ever and to let go. Putting a full stop and letting go so that the waste doesn't come in and the focus remain on what it is the need of the hour. Om Shanti.
Yeah. Also today's blessing of avyakta signal was change negative, someone's negative into positive. And don't be affected. If you are affected, then your good wishes won't reach anywhere. It won't work.
Yes, and that's right. I mean, anything within us blocks the energy. And also the point that Bab is making is that souls don't want to have to make effort. They want to be blessed. And actually, you are the ones blessed. You know, like Shiv Baba's vision is on us. You know, to have God's vision, it's like the sun is shining directly on our face. And, you know, to have God's light, because, you know, even not all the angels, they say, have God's light on that. You know, it's like to have God's light shining on you. So that others are going to ask you, because that's what devotees do. They ask someone who they think is close to God to bless them. But Baba is saying you're going to have to use these blessings, make yourself known, make yourself successful. Then you're going to have that ability to pass that on to someone else. So we have this way of having blessings by following Shri and using the methods that is given. But then once we're successful in that, these devotees, they don't want a method. They just want the blessing. And so this ability for us to just do it quickly and give them, fill them up with what they need, this is what we're unlocking as well as we use this blessing. Okay, so plenty for us to think about. Thank you for being here and questions and input. So interesting thoughts for today. And then I think there's a lot in this relationship with blessing. And we've got to really churn this and make sure that we use the blessing all the time. But as I said, you've got the experience of moving forward based on knowledge, but now have the experience of moving forward based on blessing. So see you all next week.
Om Shanti. Have a great week.
Surprise me.